Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc. Hi everybody, and welcome to today's episode. Well, last episode I got this 1972 Barth aluminum bodied motorhome, and I got it for free. We got it running, we got it driving, and it somewhat stops. It's a little the brakes aren't super great, but they work. In this episode, I'm going to start the cleanup process. I'm going to give the outside a wash. We're going to start going through the interior of it and see if we can make this thing usable again. Right now it's a little trashed, but I'm going to start with the first wash in probably 15-16 years or so. Well, maybe 11-12 years actually, because I think it was last on the road in 2011, so I'm not getting ahead of myself. Anyway, it's dirty, it needs to be cleaned, and I'm going to be the one to do it. So follow along on today's episode while I clean up a free camper. Let's go. I have started getting some soap on there, and as I'm washing it away, you can see that brown paint is actually in pretty decent condition. It's this is kind of the before, a little dusty and dirty, and there's the after, so it's shining right up. The wood sort of mac tack on this side isn't too bad. The other side is peeling. We've got a little bit of peeling going on here, so I'll have to figure out what to do there. Likely I'll try and paint and touch that up as best I can. I think this duct tape on this vent was just to prevent mice or anything from getting in. Mind you, I've seen mice eat right through duct tape. So I'm going to continue washing and cleaning the outside, then I'll start working my way through the inside. I started washing off the front as well, and this massive chrome bumper is in pretty decent shape. I've got a little bit of touch up to do where the paint has started to come off on this front sort of piano hinge on the front there. But overall, it's not terrible considering how old it is. I mean, stick me in a barn for 10-15 years, I'm probably not going to look so hot. So this thing is coming around. I was going to say nearly alive, but honestly, I've discovered I have a bit of a fuel leak coming off the carburetor, so it's likely a hose. So I'm going to try and tackle that after I get it washed up. But as for me, it's back to the bucket. Well, I moved the spare tire out of the way. It looks like this is where they stored the cable for the generator. Yeah, there's a plug-in right there. And we've got a spare tire. Some weird gloopy splatter marks on here which are not washing off. I might have to get some goof off or Goo Gone or something on there and see if I can loosen it up a bit. Reverse spotlight, that's kind of cool. And I thought I'd check and see. This was flapping around. I don't know if that'll even close properly, but what is inside? Oh, well, there's the hubcaps. 2, 3, 4, all of them there. Yeah. And they're Chevy hubcaps. And we've got a porcelain enamel wash bucket. It looks like maybe a beach ball from the last time somebody went camping in this thing. It smells a little mousy in here. I'm probably gonna have to pull all that carpeting out of there and throw that out. I'll grab some garbage bags and get ready to do that later. I need some adjustment to get that to close proper. But at least I know what's in there now. Well, first rinse was all right. And second rinse will be out of sight, hopefully, or this grime will be. The front bumper, I rinsed all the dirt off of it, but it's still, see how it's got that haze? I'm just gonna use an SOS pad. I've got a lot of grit and debris on there that I wanna get rid of, so I'm gonna give this a go and hope that with a little elbow grease, just maybe, this chrome will shine once more. That's a bit better. Okay, got the battery charger on. The bumper is definitely shinier, as is the back. To say, this thing is built very much like a old 50s or 60s Greyhound bus. It seems solid as a rock, and you know, no issues with the frame. Everything seems okay down there. Before I tackle this interior, which needs an incredibly good cleaning, I am airing it out. You can see I've got the windows open in here, because unfortunately it did get mice in it, they said, for a whole winter, and that caused some damage. They've already removed the carpeting in here. I'm going to pick up this broken, damaged drawer, and I'm going to attempt to fix that. I think I got all the pieces for it. I also noticed that there seems to be a fuel leak when it's running, which tells me that's probably a fuel line running up to the carburetor or in that general area. So I'm gonna have to trace that back and find out where the fuel leak is coming from, because I don't want to light this thing on fire. That'd be bad. I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna get some engine cleaner. I'm gonna go get another broom, because I don't want to use our house broom in here. So I'm gonna go get a cheap broom, probably from like the dollar store, that I can not worry about. And we're gonna start getting some of the trash taken out of the interior and start the cleanup process in here. As you can see, the bones are good, but it needs some serious TLC. Okay, got my garbage bags, got my broom and dustpan, got my disinfectant cleaner. I'm using spray 9 today. Now, just to get inside and start clearing out. Now, my son Steven said he wants to come out and help me with this. I'm gonna sweep up the most of the mouse debris and stuff in here, so I don't want my kid dealing with that. But he is gonna rip out some of the carpet and get some of the floor prep for me. So we should be able to make a little bit of progress, hopefully this afternoon here. All right, well, this can go. There's mouse skeletons all by this door here. Gross. And that wood that was there is long since rotted away. It looks like the metal underneath is fine, but I'm gonna need to put some new wood down there. Okay, I've been sweeping the floor, getting that cleaned up. Surprisingly, a lot of the upholstery is in okay shape. It's just dirty. So I might actually try throwing that in the wash, or wash it outside in a tub, more likely. I don't think Melissa's gonna want that in our washing machine. But I think it might be salvageable. As for this pull-out bed, I'm gonna get back in there with the vacuum cleaner and get that all cleaned up. And obviously, like, a little fresh stain and a little TLC will bring this back to shape. But the paneling on the walls is good. And I did figure out how this Scotch bar, I shouldn't call it the Scotch bar. Wah! Look at that. You pull the pin, that comes out, and there's where you fill it up. And somebody's lost their hacky sack in there. But yeah, that would have served you up rum, scotch, rye, or gin at the time. Talk about swanky motorhome. Pretty deluxe, if you ask me. Help has arrived in the form of a Steven. So hop on in, and I'll show you what I need your help with. Okay, so you're gonna need a dust mask, because it's gonna get a little dusty in here. But if you look behind you, the back area there needs to be vacuumed out, the little cubby area. Yeah. What's left of the carpeting there needs to be vacuumed. And the reason we're going to vacuum the carpet before we take it out is we don't want to be flinging all that stuff in the air. So a good thorough vacuum, and then check all the little cupboard doors and things, and we're going to try and clean in there. While you are doing that, I'm going to be chipping out the remnants of the wood here, and I'm probably going to run out and grab a new piece of wood for that. And I'll probably start by wiping down some of the surfaces with the spray 9. So you good to get going? Yeah. Okay, so grab a dust mask, and then first thing is vacuuming all the little areas, and we'll leave you to it.
Yeah, sounds easy enough. Easier.
While Steven is inside vacuuming in there, I've pulled all the upholstery, and you can see it's not really ripped or torn. The only thing I've got is that one spot over there. That's the worst of it. But really all this upholstery is in pretty decent shape. So I've given it a spray with Ye Old Spray 9. Let that soak in. I'm going to soap them all up and wash them down and let them dry out in the hot sun today. Hopefully these will clean up well enough. I think I should be able to reuse them. How's it going inside?
Good. I got most of it done.
Okay, then we'll move on to disinfecting then. We'll grab you the cleaner and get you going on that.
All right.
Well, those are all washed up and drying. Let's see what Steven's up to. I hear the sounds of scrubbing. Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Interesting. I'm finding some neat little treasures.
Oh.
Mouse form.
Yeah, I found a few here too. I think this is how the movie Cinderella starts, except in your case you'd be Cinderfella.
Did you just think of that?
No.
Oh.
I've had that one in my back pocket for a while.
I don't know if it makes it worse that you already thought about it.
Probably. Once that floor is all done, I'm going to come in there and start wiping stuff down too, but it's looking pretty good. Is that vinyl, is it cleaning up all right?
I mean, I really scrubbed it now. I'm about to wipe it all off. And
okay.
We'll see.
We'll see the before and after.
Yeah.
I started to get the remnants of wood pulled up and taken out of here. I'm gonna have to pull these bits of trim, which should be pretty easy, and I'm gonna clean this all up, and we're gonna go and grab a piece of just looks like, you know, plywood, and drop that in there to fill that gap and make the floor nice and level again. Lucky for me, that seems to be the only spot of the floor that has troubles. The rest of it actually looks pretty good. And it makes sense that this is where it would go, because you're constantly coming in with, you know, wet or muddy shoes, or maybe you'll leave them there when they're wet. So I get it, but we're gonna get that fixed up. All right, progress report. Well, I've got the majority of that chipped out. Doesn't that look awful? But I'll show you in a second. I'm gonna sweep it up. Steven has taken the, I wanna say center console, but he's taken the engine cover, the lid. He's peeling that old gross carpeting off. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering why he's wearing masks, because it's really mousy inside. And if you were here, you'd be wearing a mask too. I'm gonna go and sweep up my mess and see what I've got to work with over here. And voila, much better. I've obviously got to do something with the linoleum that's busted up there, but I'll find a solution for it. Well, I've painted the metal that was underneath just to give it sort of a protective coating. It's oil-based, corrosive resistant paint. So that should help a little bit for future muddy or wet shoes. But while this paint dries, that's a perfect time for me to go and grab the wood. Okay, I've got the wood. I've got some rubber matting that I'm going to use for the floor mats for the front. But I wanted to do something to kind of give the cupboard doors a little bit of a pop. And I'm thinking sort of a classic kind of avocado green would tie in nicely with that 70s vibe that this thing has going for it. So I'm gonna get some paint mixed up and we're gonna give this a try. Okay, the sun is going down. It's the end of another day. So far today we accomplished, well, getting a bunch of gross carpeting out, getting all the upholstery washed up, which is just about dry right there. And I got my new wood installed, nice and solid. I'm still have to deal with the linoleum and stuff, but the base is good. And now I can stand and walk on that and know it's going to be protected for a little while longer. So I'm going to get back at this in the morning, and then I'm going to start tackling more of the interior. Okay, it's the next day, and my plan is I want to try and get that front console area, the engine cover, reupholstered. And for that, I've come to a fabric store in Edmonton called Marshall's, which has a great selection. And I'm trying to find something that's going to look like it's kind of the era, sort of 1970s-ish, but also give it a little bit of a modern flair. I don't know, we'll see. They've got quite a variety behind me. I'm going to have a look and see if something stands out. Oh, they've got your perforated, kind of like you'd have on the insert of a sports car seat, or almost like headliner material. Textured, that's too light. I'm thinking it's got to be like a brown. Gosh, I mean, that looks like it's old school right there, but I'm not a fan of the shiny. There's got to be something in here that works. I just know it. I think I found a contender. This looks like it's right out of the 70s. And if I upholster that center section of this, nobody's gonna think that that was ever redone. It's gonna look like it was meant to be there. That is as vintage looking fabric as I think I'm gonna find. I think I'm gonna buy a couple yards of this and grab some upholstery tacks and get busy. Now for the fun part. I'm test fitting the fabric. I'm gonna have to do this in two pieces. One, this front triangular piece, and then I'm gonna have to roll an edge and upholster the rest. I'm gonna use decorative tacks to hold the rest on. Ideally, you would be able to sew this and just slip the cover on, but I don't have those tools here, so I'm gonna do the best I can with what I have, and it should still look all right. So I'm gonna start by doing upholstery nails or staples in the bottom here to get that lip, I can speak English, get the lip held in place, and then stretch it, staple the top. We'll do the same with the sides, and then I can do the top piece. And as you can see, that's definitely some 70s funky looking fabric there. I think it'll be perfect for what I need it to be. Okay, update, it's coming along. The trickiest thing to upholster are like triangles, like this. This is basically like a pyramid. So what I did is I upholstered the front. I did the whole top in one piece, all the way down and around, and I pulled it tight. And I very carefully tried to get these squares to line up so that when I stretch them, they should match up fairly well. But I've got to start putting some upholstery tacks in all the way along, hammer them in, so it'll look like, you know, little, like you see on leather couches, or anyway, little brass brads. Those are going to go in to hold it down. Like I said, this would have been nice to have just a stitch there, but I'm doing this on the cheap. My budget to reupholster this thing was about 40 bucks, and I'll be right on track with that. So I'm gonna get busy hammering and I'll show you the result. That is almost ready to install, but I've been waiting to install it because while I've been doing upholstery, Steven, my son, has been in here having a great time. Hey, kiddo?
Yeah.
He was getting the driver's seat out and then next the passenger seat, but the bolts are seized, so they're actually snapping off.
I had to snap all of them.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We'll just get new bolts.
We got them off.
Yeah, well, you got them off. I did very little. So can you bring the seat all the way out?
Sure.
And I can get that into an upholstery shop. But we'll have to get the other seat out too. I'll grab it from you here. Okay, with both seats successfully removed and in the back, I'm gonna go drop them off at an upholstery shop because every day that they're there, I can be working on this thing and getting it prepped and ready for them to go back in. If I would wait to take them in, then I'm gonna be waiting extra long to get the seats back in. So off to the upholsterer I go, and we'll try and pick out some kind of fabric for that insert, and hopefully they can salvage some of the seat. I guess we'll see what they have to say. With the front seats now at the upholstery shop, I have begun, well actually Steven did most of the work getting the old carpet removed, and I've begun cutting new rubber mats. I'm doing rubber mats for the front, kind of like what you'd have in a Volkswagen van or something. I think that's going to be a nice durable surface, easy to clean. So I've got one cut and more or less in place. I've got another to cut here. We'll get that guy in, and then I've got some upholstery to do and put the cover that I've upholstered back on. We'll see how that's all going to look in a little bit. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. It's not perfect, Alex, but that's okay. I know I've got a few little pole lines there, but honestly, it's a lot better than what it was, which was nasty and mouse-eaten. And in my mind, it looks like it's of the era. So that said, I have the mats in, the cover done, the seats are out getting upholstered. Lots of great work on this episode. And on next episode, I'm going to start on the carpeting. I'm going to add a little splash of paint to the cupboard doors to give a little bit of color in here. And geez, hopefully we'll get the upholstery back in time before we start to get a little bit of nasty weather. So for me, guys, I'm calling it a night. I'm itchy and scratchy. And no, I'm not quoting The Simpsons. I've got mouse allergies. So I'm going to go in. It's been a busy day. Thank you very much to my son, Steven, for helping me out with all the legwork in here. He worked really hard. And yes, Dad is paying him for his work, so don't worry about that. I'm going to get back at this again on the next episode. We'll get the paint out. We'll get moving along. and hopefully I'll get the carpet down and you guys can see what this thing's gonna look like. We'll see you guys all soon. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, bye for now.